guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock. It's time for another video, and I'm back with a top 10 list. Top 10 lists are very, very popular on this channel. I'm back with the top 10 list, very topical at the moment, with the release of my Cube 52. A lot of people are talking about Cube Magic. Cube Magic's more popular than ever before, and so I thought I would put together a list of the top 10 best cube tricks of all time. And you know that I take things seriously when I make a list. These are the top 10 best cube tricks of all time. Now, one caveat here. These are tricks, physical products that you can buy with a Rubik's Cube. So something like Cube 3 is not going to be included in here because even though you get a cube with it, it's more of a technique. Cube Effects by Carl Hein is not going to be included in this. The original Cube by Takamizu Sui, that's not going to be included in this. Anything by Kev G and Colin Klaus with the Refractor project, because that's all ungimmicked cube magic with any cube, that's not going to be included. I am going to do another video at some point down the line, fairly soon, that's going to be all about cube magic that just uses an ungimmicked cube. But this is a list of the top 10 best physical products that you can buy if you're into cube magic and you want to take your cube magic to the next level. I love Rubik's Cube magic. Ryland loves Rubik's Cube magic. I do it all the time. So does Ry. And all of these tricks we've performed in our act, either close-up or stage, and I can highly recommend them. So if you want to take your cube magic to the next level, we're going to go through the list right now. So let's start off with number 10. So in 10th position, we have the Vanishing Ink Cube in Bottle project. Now, me and Ryland reviewed this about a year and a half ago, the Vanishing Ink Cube in Bottle project. What it is, in essence, what it basically is, it's very different to the Henry Harrius Cube in Bottle. If you've seen Henry Harrius's Cube in Bottle, this is a very, very different thing. In essence, what we have here is you have a routine where you start by showing a bottle with a Rubik's Cube in it, and it's a mixed up Rubik's Cube. And you put that down to one side, and you just put it off to one side, and you hand the cube out to be mixed, and it's thoroughly mixed, and during the course of the routine there's a bunch of stuff happens, but eventually after the cube has been mixed, you show that the cube that's being mixed by the audience matches the cube that's inside the bottle, which is a really great visual when you have that moment and you're showing the bottle and you're showing the cube and you're showing that every side has been mixed. It's a really cool moment because they know you can't switch the cube that's in the bottle because it's been there on full display the whole time. And I love the fact that you call back to that. You bring this out at the beginning and you talk about one thing that you love about magic is the art of astonishment and creating wonder and impossibility. And here's an example, a cube in a bottle. How could you possibly put a cube in a bottle? Then you do your whole routine and then you come in and bring it back full circle at the end. Mark James, who is a fantastic magician, has a full live performance on this project, but it's taught really well. Now, what's interesting about this project is you learn how to put the cube in the bottle yourself. So you actually learn how to take a cube and put it in a bottle. You actually create the gimmick. You get the bottle, you get everything that you need inside the set to make the cube in the bottle, and then you have it forever. But what's nice about that is you can get replacement bottles from Vanishing Ink. So if you wanted to, if you had a really important client, you could give this project this cube and bottle away to them. And as a bonus routine on the project, they also include how to make a special gimmicked cube inside the bottle so that you can actually finish by solving the cube inside the bottle as well, which is a really nice moment. Now, I don't actually do that in my show. I think Ryland's done it on Instagram a couple of times, but it's never actually made it into my show. But I have, and Ryland has done the actual cube in bottle. It's super smart. What's nice is to go through several different ways of achieving that cube in bottle moment. So they go through a few different gimmicks and a few different ways of achieving it. But ultimately, it's brilliant. It's really good. It's 10th place. It's called the Cube in Bottle Project, and you can get it from Vanishing Ink. Now, in all honesty, in 9th place now, in all honesty with you, I could very probably make a list of 10 of the best cube gimmicks of all time and make all of them Henry Harrius projects, because Henry has made a name for himself as being the leading expert when it comes to creating gimmicked Rubik's Cubes. And there's some cubes that he has created that aren't going to make this list. Tornado Cube is not going to make this list. Rubik's 360 is not going to make this list. There's a few that aren't, and it's not to say they're not good. It's just I didn't want to make this list all about Henry Harrius. However, there are going to be a few things that have got Henry's name attached to them, and this is the first one. In 9th place, we've got Cube Buster. Now, he brought Cube Buster out at Blackpool 2023. And then released it a few months later to the Magic community. Cube Buster is incredible. Now, I've done it a couple of times, but Ryland does it in every show. And what Ryland does, just so you know, he does Venom Cube, which we'll get to later on. Then he does a whole bunch of solves. He does the Solution by Michael Murray, which also isn't going to make this list because it's an ungimmick cube. And then he says, well, let's see if we can take this to the next level, and he does Cube Buster. So what Cube Buster is it's a 7x7 Rubik's Cube. And it's a little bit like the Rubik's 360 in terms of methodology, but with a 7x7 Rubik's Cube. So what's really nice is you bring this cube out, you have people mix it up as much as they want to, and while that's happening, you have someone pick a card, for example. You then take the cube back and you say, hey, I'm going to solve it in less than 10 seconds with one hand without looking. And you put it in a bag, you show it inside the bag, there's nothing else in the bag, and you look away and they count to 10, and when they do, the cube's been solved. Beautiful moment. And then you ask them the name of the card, and you say, well, while I was in there, I had a little bit of extra time, and you turn the cube round, and on the red and white faces, it's changed into an 8 of hearts. You've actually revealed the card as well as everything else. And what's really nice about this, first of all, it's very easy to do. You don't need to know how to solve a cube in order to do this routine, which is great. But the other thing is you get a template, you get numerous templates. And Henry created this really nice system that lays stickers down on a 7x7 cube in any order that you want to. So it doesn't have to be an 8 of hearts reveal. It could be a heart and a U, and I love you. It could be a person's initials. There's a million different things you can do with it. The whole point is you can adapt it. And Ryland's got 3 Cube Busters. Each one has been set up with different reveals for various different shows that he does. And I've only got one. I just do the card reveal. But I mean, it's just amazing. It really is. I love cube magic. And once you've done a solve, and you've done a matchup, there's very little you can follow that with in order to make it more impressive. But bringing out a 7x7 Rubik's Cube, a lot of people haven't seen one of those before, and you can immediately tell how difficult this would be to solve or to do anything with. And then the fact that you can actually do that right in front of the audience, it's really an incredible trick. It's why it's made 9th place in this list. So in 9th place, we have Cube Buster by Henry Harrius. So in 8th place, we have Cube Cards by Kev G, which was originally bought out about 10 years ago through Saturn Magic. And Kev doesn't really work with Saturn Magic anymore. He's now in the Refractor Project, his own company with Colin Klaus. This was one of the very first cube routines that came out all those years ago. And it kind of solidified Kev's name as an expert in Rubik's Cubes, and that's something that's continued over the last few years. Anybody who knows Kev knows how incredible he is, not just as a cube expert, but as a magician in general, as a creator, as a performer. He's just an all-round fantastic guy. But cube cards, so many people did that. And I honestly think of this as a hidden gem now, because less people know about it as new people come into Magic. They're not really aware of cube cards, but it's great. It's a deck of cards, and they've got all different you've got 3D pictures of cubes on there that are all mixed up in different ways and different patterns, and there's multiple different routines, but basically in essence it's a way of doing a matchup with very limited skill, and there's a bunch of other stuff that you can do with it as well. It's very, very good, very, very good. I can highly recommend cube cards. The tutorial is exceptional. The routine is great. If you don't do any magic with Rubik's Cubes, as long as you learn a very simple algorithm, you're going to be able to do this. It's just a really great trick, and it's an instant reset. Kev's a worker, and this trick is a working routine. It's fantastic. You can get it from Kev. from the Refractor project. They sell them on there, and obviously through Saturn Magic as well. But if you've never seen it, go and check it out. There's lots of live performances, there's lots of trailers. Go check it out. It's a hidden gem. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's a great thing to carry around with you. It's called Cube Cards, and it's by Kev G and Saturn Magic. Okay, so in 7th place, now this is the only item on the list that I don't own. But I'm planning on buying it in the next couple of weeks, and it's something that I've been wanting to buy for a while, but I've just never had time because I knew I was going to need to put some practice in. But I've always wanted one of these, and I'm going to be getting one in the next week or two. It's called Cubesmith by Benki. Now, Cubesmith is incredible, and obviously, you know, the person that created this, Benki, is an absolute genius and has, you know, created so much amazing app-based magic, tech-based magic. So what Cubesmith is it's used by a lot of magicians, and it's a way of being able to solve a cube behind your back or above your head without actually being able to look at the cube or solve the cube. And it's all based on technology, and there's an app that you get with it that tells you what you need to do in order to not just solve the cube, but do a matchup. And he's constantly updating the system. He's constantly making it better. With the release of my Cube 52, he's brought a new thing out now, which allows you to solve one face. And it was inspired by Cube 52, but it's this special doodle type app that allows you to, it's just ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not going to say too much about it because although I've looked into the system and I've watched other people who have performed this, and I've got friends that have got it and they've showed me the inner workings, I can't confidently talk about it too much because I don't own it. I will be doing a review when I pick it up in the next couple of weeks, but I couldn't, in all honesty, include a list of the best cube-related items that you can buy without including this in the list, because this is going to allow you to do absolutely incredible feats of magic with a Rubik's Cube without even needing to know how to solve a Rubik's Cube. All you have to do is follow certain directions and you are good. So if you want to look like an absolute god when it comes to cube magic, you want to pick up Cubesmith. The other thing about Cubesmith is, from everyone I've spoken to, the customer service is exceptional. And I'm actually in the Cubesmith Facebook group, and I can see that the customer service is incredible. And Benki goes above and beyond to actually make sure that his customers continue to get everything that they want and keep everything updated and constantly coming up with new ideas. And it's why this has been such a perennial favorite of cube and non-cube magicians for a very long time. So in 7th place we have Cubesmith. Okay, so in 6th place, we have Wild Cubes. Now, there's a very good chance you've never heard of Wild Cubes unless you went to Blackpool 2023. And the reason is it's not actually officially out yet. Now, Wild Cubes is by Ryland. It's by my son. It's by Ryland. My name's on the box as well, but to be honest, 99% of the trick is by Ryland. But what it is, in essence, is it got released at Blackpool, but it hasn't had its official release through Alakazam yet. And if you sign up to the Alakazam socials and onto their mailing list, they'll tell you when it comes out. Alakazam tend to do this a lot. Last year, they bought Trivia out, Blackpool 2023, as a soft launch. And then it didn't actually officially see the light of day until, I think, December 2022. So they do this an awful lot. And the Wild Cubes, as I say, some people have got it, a lot of people have got it that saw Ryland. He was demming it at Blackpool. But if you haven't got it and you're interested in getting it, it will be coming out through Alakazam soon. But what is it? So basically, it combines cube magic with wildcard. And on the project, you're going to see a live performance of me doing this at Houdini's Magic Bar in Kent. And I do this all of the time, and it's such a great routine. So in essence, there's a few different phases for you. You bring out a Rubik's Cube, and you bring out a packet of 9 cards, and you show the backs of the cards, and then you show the fronts, and they've all got different designs on them. So they've all got completely different designs of Rubik's Cubes, different scrambles, right? And then the first thing that you do is you have somebody pick any one of those. You have them say stop anytime they want to, and they can literally say stop anytime they want. You then take that card and you put it to one side, and you say you could have picked any of these. But the one that you picked is this one, and beforehand they mixed up a cube, and then you take the cube and you show that the card they picked, and it's a perfect match. It matches exactly, which is a really nice moment. And then you put the cube down to one side and you say, well, if I take this card and snap, I can solve the cube. And then you solve the card that they just saw mixed up. Then you take the other cards and one by one, and you lay them down on the table, and one by one, those mixed up cubes, and they can see there's mixed up cubes on every single one, they solve as well, until you've got all of these cards. You've got like 9 cards, and every single one of them is shown front and back, and they've all got solved cubes on them. And then for the kicker finish, you say, well, you know, you're able to solve these, but what about the cube? If I could do that, that'd be really magic. And you take the cube and you shake it, and that solves as well. And it's a regular cube, and it's as I say, you get a packet of cards that allows you to do a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot on the tutorial, so it's not just that main routine, but there's a bunch of other routines as well. But that main routine I do all of the time. It's great because you don't even need to include the cube if you don't want to, but if you do want to include the cube, it makes a nice finale to the whole thing. But even without the cube, it's a really strong trick. So it's called Wild Cubes. It's by Ryland, and it'll be out some point this year from Alakazam, but it definitely makes the list. It's really good. So I'm putting that in 6th place. Let's move on. So in 5th place, we have Venom Cube, which I went back and forth about putting this higher up, but there's so many really good tricks in the top 5. It ended up being in 5th position. But Venom Cube is amazing. Like, if you go back and you look at Ryland's Britain's Got Talent semi-final, where he starts at the judge's desk and he gets them to mix up a cube and it matches, that's Venom Cube. That's exactly what Venom Cube is. It's that strong, it's that direct, it's that powerful. Ryland also opens up almost every single stage show he does with Venom Cube. So what is it? Well, in essence, you hand somebody a cube and you get them to mix it up. And they mix it up as much as they want to. And you're holding this other cube here the whole time, and they can mix it up. And when they do, you take it back and you show that it matches the cube that you've been holding every single side, which looks amazing. And then you're left with a cube that you can then solve, and you can go into any other cube magic you want to with it, because you're left with what is in essence a regular cube. Now, Henry developed the Venom Cube based on the Greg Wilson Rubicon routine. So Greg Wilson many years ago brought out Rubicon, which is a great trick, and it would have made this list a few years ago, but Venom Cube, in all honesty, superseded it, just because it does basically the same thing, but it's a lot cleaner in terms of how it looks. Because honestly, what I'm describing is exactly what happens. You're holding this cube the whole time, you take this one back and you show it's matched. Now, it could be done close up, absolutely 100% it can be done close up. It could even be done walk around, because the reset is very, very quick. But really, for me, this is kind of more of a stage piece. This is more of a parlor show routine. But if you wanted to do it close up, you could. I mean, a lot of these routines could be done close up or stage, but I kind of think of Venom Cube as a stage routine, just because of how it works and how it plays. But you could do it close up. But if you, the really nice thing about Venom Cube is, if you want to do a cube matching effect, you can do this, and you don't even need to know how to solve a cube at all. As long as you reset it properly afterwards, you're never going to need to solve the cube, reset the cube, or do anything, because the cube that they mix is genuinely mixed, which is really nice. That's one of the nice things about this. I mean, one of the many nice things about it. But if you do cube magic, you're left with a regular cube that you can then go into whatever you want to. So the way that Ryland opens his show is he starts off by bringing out 2 cubes. He hands one to he gets somebody up on stage. He hands one to the person on stage with him. He does Venom Cube. He then puts one of the cubes away. He does a toss-up solve from Stephen Brunbridge's Cube 3. Then he does a couple of quick solves. He does one behind the back, and he finishes off with the solution by Michael Murray, and that's the first 6 minutes of his show. And he uses the Venom Cube to do all of that, because he can go from Venom Cube directly into anything else he wants, because you're left with a regular cube that you can be set up into any position that you want to. You choose the position. So he chooses to go into the toss-up solve, which for stage is one of the best solves that you can do, because it looks like, so it really looks like it solves in midair. But yeah, if you're looking for a really strong piece, this is definitely it. It's 5th place in this list. It's Venom Cube, and it's another routine by Henry Harrius. Okay, so fourth place, I'm going to talk about a Clear Cube by Prop Dog. And I think this has flown under the radar of a lot of magicians. And I think because it doesn't really have much of a routine with it. The Clear Cube is basically Omnicube. It's an Omnicube. So it's a glass cube that looks like a real Rubik's Cube, but it doesn't actually turn. Now, you get, when you buy it, you get a little holding device, but you also get like a one-sided shell. So you can actually have it held in this position and it doesn't look clear, and then you can just palm that shell away and show that it's gone clear, which is a nice idea. Yeah, for sure. Really nice idea. But it's kind of a bit impractical because it's very angly and so on and so forth. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't use the Clear Cube. The reason is it doesn't really have a practical routine included in the instructions, even though it's beautifully made. Well, anybody who's got Cube 52 will tell you that I've put as a bonus routine on Cube 52 the way that I use Clear Cube. And I've been closing my act, both close-up and stage, my cube act, not my whole act, but I've been closing my cube act in close-up, walk around, table magic, parlor, and stage using this Clear Cube, because it's the perfect ending for a cube routine. Because once you've done a matchup and once you've done once you've done a matchup and you've done a solve or two, really you have to take it to the next level to finish it. And that could be a cube in bottle, it could be a cube wall or something like that. Or this is another perfect way to end a cube routine. And I use a technique by Takamiza Sui. And I use it in a slightly different way to the way Takamiza. He didn't use it to make a clear cube appear. He used it to change the cube's color. But the technique is still basically the same. And I put that on Cube 52 as a bonus section. Kind of like, hey, this is how you can close the act if you want to. This is how I do Clear Cube. And I've had several messages from people that have said they've started using that handling of Clear Cube in their act. And the reactions are just insane. And they really are, because at the end of the routine, when they look in the bag and they see that the cube is now, they've been holding onto that bag the whole time. There's absolutely 100% certainty that that is a normal cube. And when at the end of the routine, they open it and it's a clear cube, it kills, absolutely kills. It's why it's made number 4 in this list. And if you've got a clear cube and you've never used it, pick up Cube 52, look at the way that I use it on there, and I guarantee you're going to put it straight into your act. But there you go. So 4th place, if you're looking for a really great finale to your cube act, Clear Cube by Dave Bonsall and Prop Dog. Okay, so we're rocking up to number 3 now. And in 3rd place, we have Cube Wall by Bond Lee. Now, Cube Wall is amazing. Now, if you want to see a performance of Cube Wall, you can go and look at Ryland's audition for Britain's Got Talent in 2022. Was it 2022? Yeah, 2022. Now, Ryland, obviously, in that performance, did it with the kids from the YMC, and he made it play really big. But the cube wall routine can be done in parlor, it can be done in a stage show, it can even be done big on stage. Ryland closes his show with cube wall pretty much every single show. And if you look at the cube wall that Ryland uses, he's had it custom made by Guy Barrett. So it's actually on a stand that he can like wheel forward and turn round, and it just makes it play bigger and makes it more practical. Because what you get with the original cube wall is you get just a standalone piece that goes onto like a lazy Susan, so you can turn it around. You need to put it on a table. And if you go and look at Ryland's performance, his is more kind of elevated. And it was Guy Barrett that did that. But what cube wall basically is it allows you to have somebody think of something. So if you look at Ryland's performance of BGT, they thought of an emotion that they think of when they're performing magic, and or when they're watching magic. And you grab all of these cubes and put them into these spaces. It's like a 16 space grid. Each one holds a Rubik's Cube. You put them all in, and then when you turn it round, it's made the image. In Ryland's case on BGT, it was a heart. Now, what's really nice about this is you get graphics, you get templates, a little bit like Cube Buster, so that you can make up anything that you want to. with this particular final reveal. So you can have somebody think of Mario, and you can have the final reveal Mario. You can have somebody think of a playing card, and you can have the final reveal a playing card. There's dozens of final reveals, and once you know how to do it, you could even make more up yourself if you wanted to. The nice thing is all of these pack really flat into one little case, and they set up very, very quickly, which is great, obviously, if you're a working pro and you need to set things up fast. And you can, if you want to, put these together. So you could have 2 next to each other and make a really big image, or you could have 4 and make a huge image. So if you're doing something like an illusion show, that might be the way to go. But the point is, it's really good. And it's a great finale. It's a little bit like the Clear Cube, you know. It's a big finale. Like Ryland in his show, when he's leaning heavily into the cube stuff, he'll do Venom Cube, like I said. He'll do that whole act with the toss-up solve, the quick solve, the shake solve. He'll do the solution by Michael Murray. He does a blindfolded cube solve. He does Infinity Cube, where he's making tons of cubes appear. He does the 7x7 cube buster routine. He does Tornado Cube. He does all of this, and he then finishes with Cube Wall, because it's another thing that's very, very different to what anybody's seen before, that makes the perfect finale, because now you're using multiple cubes instead of just using one cube. And the fact that you can adapt it like to any image is great. So it's called Cube Wall. It's by Bond Lee. You can get it from all good magic dealers, and be aware it's not a close-up trick. It's something that you want to do on stage, whether that be a parlor show or a stage show, but it's really good, and I highly recommend it if you're regularly performing on stage and you want a big finale that packs small and plays big and is very different to anything else you might be doing. Then this is the trick you want to get. So in second place we have Henry Harrius's Cube in Bottle. Now, a couple of years ago on Magic TV, we made this trick of the year, and for good reason. This is brilliant. Now, I will tell you right now, in my man cave, where we have all of our magic, and me and Ryland practice all the time, we have a shelf, and there's always about 50 cubes in there, cube in bottles. We just get tons. I think we're probably Henry Harris's best customer, because we're constantly giving these out. Anytime Ryland does a gig or I do a gig, cube in bottle is included. Every time I do a close-up job, I do cube in bottle. Every time I do a stage show, I do cube in bottle, because it makes a great giveaway. For a bride and groom, it's especially great because you can make this, I do it at the end of a full routine. So I walk over to their table and I do this whole routine with a bunch of different stuff, which I've shown on Magic TV in the past. And then I finish by putting this cube in this bottle and giving it to them as a souvenir. And it's a finale that they never see coming. They never see it coming, and then I give it to them to keep, and it's one of these things that they keep forever. In fact, I did a wedding probably about 2 years ago now, 2 years ago, something like that. And I had a phone call from the client about 2 weeks later saying that a kid had come around their house and smashed a cube in bottle, and they loved it so much. Can I send them another one? And they'll pay me whatever it costs to send another one over. And I just sent them one. That's how much people value. You're not going to have that with a playing card. You're not going to give somebody a signed playing card that you've used in your ambitious card routine, and a kid comes and rips it up, and they phone you up and go, "Oh, can I have another signed card, please?" It's not going to happen. But that's how much people think of this cube in bottle as a finale. You know, Ryland does a lot of kid shows, and he always does cube in bottle for the birthday kid and gives them the cube in bottle to keep. I mean, it's just a beautiful prop. And I'm so in love with cube in bottle. It can be done close up, it can be done walk around, it can be done on stage. And again, it's very different to a lot of different cube routines, and you don't need to know how to solve a cube. There's a lot of them like that. Cube in wall, you don't need to know how to solve a cube. Venom Cube, you don't need to know how to solve a cube. Cube Smith, Wild Cubes, a lot of these tricks that I'm going through, Cube Buster, you don't need to know how to solve a cube. And Cube in Bottle is another perfect example of a trick that you can do. You don't need to solve a cube, but it just looks so good. So there you go. Henry Harris's Cube in Bottle. It's second place on my list of the 10 greatest cube projects of all time. So now we reach number 1. And I know what you're thinking. You're kind of thinking, well, what's better than cube in bottle? Well, remember, this is my list. okay? This is my list. It's only my opinion, but it is my list. And I am putting in first position Cube 52 by myself, that came out at the beginning of summer, or probably only a couple of weeks ago now. Came out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's my latest trick that's come out. Now, Cube 52, I love. I've been working on this for 1.5 years, and a lot of people said to me, wow, a 9-hour tutorial, that's really long. And yeah, it is really long, but that's because I wanted to include all the information. There's a lot of that information that's skippable. If you're an experienced cube magician, great. You don't need to look at a lot of this material. There's some of it you can skip, but I wanted to include everything, so that you didn't have to go and buy another project. You don't have to go and buy this. I hate that when you buy a trick and it's like, right, okay, if you want to do this routine, you need to buy this. If you want to do this routine, you need to buy this. I wanted to include everything on the project. And the other thing I was very passionate about is that I don't include there has to be a ton of material that doesn't use a Rubik's Cube. And if it does use a Rubik's Cube, you don't need to know how to solve it. You don't need to know how to do any algorithms. It'll just work. And that's what I feel I was able to accomplish. Now, what Cube 52 is, basically, it's a deck of cards that Phil Smith designed for me. And it's a deck of cards that are designed to look like a Speed Cuber's deck of cards. And the key thing to this was making it look real. And it does look real. It looks like the sort of thing that you get in a gadget shop. And the box looks great, which is so what I needed it to do. And basically, what's cool is the deck of cards. If you don't know about Cube 52, it's a lot like a Rubik's Cube. Whereas a Rubik's Cube has 6 colours. There's 6 colours in the deck. There's 9 squares of each colour. There's 9 cards of each colour in the deck. You add up all the squares, you get 54. You add up all of the cards, there's 54 cards. So the deck of cards is basically a Rubik's Cube, but in playing card form. Knowing this, you combine a cube and a deck of cards and you can make absolute miracles happen. And I did a mat test on this a little while ago. I've got a review show special coming up at some point as well. But, you know, I've put a lot of live performances out there so people can see exactly what it is and exactly what it does. But in essence, the cards are marked, which allow you to be able to very easily and very clearly see the colours of the cards. At just a glance from the other side of the room, you can see the cards, which allows you to do so many different things. And some of the routines, just use a deck. Other routines use the deck and the cube. Phil Smith obviously designed the cards, but as well as that, Peter Nardi's on the project and goes through some amazing mentalism applications that doesn't even use a cube and just uses the deck of cards. Because in essence, what you have here is ESP cards, but colours, which become more relatable for many different reasons. And so Pete goes through a lot of ESP style routines that you can do with the Cube 52 deck. For the cube experts, Kev G and Colin Klaus are on the project talking about different things that they do with the cube and different ways of them manipulating it. And then I go through classic card routines that you can use the cube for: Ambitious Card, Oil and Water, Reset, Out of This World. You know, the list goes on and on and on. Any card at any number, but with colours. It's just, there's something for everybody. And if you don't want to know how to solve a cube, great, there's a bunch of routines so that you never have to solve a cube or learn how to solve a cube or learn any algorithms. But if you like the idea of doing some cube manipulation as part of the project as well, I go through everything that you need to know in order to learn the simple algorithms that I use to be able to perform all the different routines. So, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It is my project. I feel it's very reasonably priced at like 30 quid, 25, 30 quid, $30, $35, whatever it is, for what you get with the deck of cards and the 9 hours of tutorial. I think it's a great project. I genuinely think it's one of the best things that I've ever done. And I'm counting Chop and Keymaster. I'm counting Quantum Deck, I'm counting the Mirage coin set, I'm counting all of those things that people kind of think of when they think of my name as a magic creator. I think this is as good as, if not better than, anything else that I've ever put out. And, it's been very popular, it's been very well received, and I want to thank everybody that picked it up. But, I know there's going to be people watching this that go, oh, number 1 on Craig's list is Craig's project. I honestly think it's one of the best cube projects that there is out there. And, I'd be hypocritical if I released a trick to the magic community and it didn't make the list. You know, I mean, that would just be ridiculous. Why have they even released it in the first place? It's my list, it's my opinion, and my opinion is Cube 52 is one of the best, if not the best project on cube magic ever, because it's designed to get people who aren't into cube magic into cube magic. So there you go. Number 1 on the list is Cube 52 by myself, Craig Petty. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag, the 10 best cube projects of all time. Now, I am going to do another video down the line of the 10 best routines with, you know, cubes, ungimmick cube magic. I'm going to go through all of that at some point down the line. But do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you do cube magic? Do you not? Have you got any of these projects? What do you think of them? Are there some that I should have talked about that haven't made the list? Please let me know. I know there's going to be a few people that are going to say, hey, why isn't Rubik Stream in there? Why isn't Rubik Stream 360 in there? Why isn't Tornado Cube in there? Why isn't RD Insta on there? And I totally get that. This is just my opinion. These are the 10 best of all time. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. And also, don't forget, if you haven't already joined the Netrix, please do so. I'm uploading a stack of cube magic onto the Netrix soon as well, so you can go and check that out. And the Discord server is really upping a notch. We've got a live Q. We've had a live Q&A recently with Nicholas Mavresis. We've got another one coming up soon with a bunch of other people, including Ryland Petty. That's right, Ryland's doing his first Q&A on the Discord. So you get access to that when you join the Netrix. There's thousands of tricks on there at this point, and sleights and moves and a whole bunch of other stuff. So go and join the Netrix if you haven't already done so. But either way, thank you once again for joining me on this video, and I will see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.